Welcome once again to the Allon Exchange. Jay and Brittany Hagee, they are the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Jay and Brittany every single week give you retirement planning solutions. I want to talk a little bit about being purpose-based planning with our finances, if you don't mind. We're going to go through some viewer questions as well, but what does it mean to plan with a purpose with your finances? Not just, I want to save as much as I can, but what is the goal? What are we doing with it? What do we want that retirement eventually to look like? Brittany, you ready to jump into your own show
Ready
here?
to go. Let's do it.
Awesome. Jay as well?
It's what we do every day, all day, so let's do it.
Okay, well, I wanted to read this for you. I prepared something, I don't even think they know it. There's a study out there, and using a financial advisor, I believe this was done by Vanguard, shows that you can actually increase your returns by nearly 3% just by using a financial advisor. 1.5% increase for the behavioral coaching, our fear and greed, things that Brittany talks about a lot. 1% for actual income planning, 25% or 0.25% for things like rebalancing, those more difficult things to do. A lot of folks simply buy and hold, or what I like to call buy and hope. We buy it, we hope it's eventually going to work out, but you do a lot more with it.
Absolutely.
Jay, talk to me a little bit about your firm. How is it different than maybe some of these big box firms, as people like to say?
Yeah, and I love making this differentiation is that we are independent and fiduciary, meaning that we work only for our clients. And so, you know, knowing that, you don't have to come in thinking that we're trying to sell something for a company, for a bigger retail box store. We're actually trying to get good financial education and good advice to our clients, and we only have the relationship with them, and so our clients are our boss. You know, we are fiduciary doing what's in the best interest of our clients. And so most folks, when I meet with them, I tell them, you're looking for two things from an advisor. You're looking for intelligence and you're looking for integrity. That's really the basis of trust and understanding when it comes to making financial decisions. And so if you have one without the other, you can get in big trouble. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, but I have no integrity, you're in big trouble if you trust me, right? But if I have all the integrity in the world, but I have no idea what I'm doing with finances, you're also in really big trouble. So we try to show our clients by how we're licensed, you know, the intelligence piece that we have, that we've put the time, energy, and effort and have the intelligence to put together a financial plan, but also the integrity piece that we don't work for a big box retail firm that's trying to sell you something. We are trying to get something to you, not from you.
That's right.
Brittany, I could also ask you that we have all kinds of licensing. There's the SEC that watches, but I always ask this. Do you ever know if anybody who's ever sped while driving? Does everyone always get caught?
Oh, no.
I mean, the SEC, they can't watch everyone. So
That's right.
things like licensing, your own personal integrity, incredibly important. How do you know what kind of person you're working with? So if somebody's watching your show for the first time, and maybe explain who you guys are, because we don't know who all of the bad guys are. That's not how you operate, but maybe we could describe who you are.
That's right. Yeah, you've got to know who you're working with, and the big piece about us that's important is that we are independent, which Jay has already mentioned. You know, and how that sets us apart. We don't have any strings tied to a big box firm or something like that. But that sets us apart big time, and that's really what matters most.
There are
makes
multiple licenses that folks can hold, and I think it's important that you know who you're speaking with. So for us, I can speak for us. We hold the Series 65 license, which you can look that up and to know what that is, the investment advisor license. And so that means we are fiduciary to only work for you. So that's the license that we hold personally. So you need to know how the person giving you advice is actually licensed. If you're working with someone else outside of us, that should be the question you're asking them. How are you licensed? Because that's going to tell you how they're getting paid. And you want to know
which in turn shows you where their loyalty is.
Absolutely. You want to know that it only belongs to you as the consumer.
Right.
So there are a lot of firms, and I'll help the viewers out there. Some folks might be insurance or annuity based. A lot of folks might be, we call it AUM, assets under management based. So they might be more like stock brokers. How would you define, what can people be invested with or plan with you.
That's the great thing about being independent and how we operate, is that we do all of those things. Because when we're looking at comprehensive financial planning, all of those are components of a comprehensive financial plan and can be utilized. All of those different vehicles can be part of that financial plan. And so it's great to be able to have all of those at our disposal to say, hey, so-and-so has this need, this fits them in this season in this way, and we can utilize that specifically for them. And that is how we operate. It's not just a plug and play system. It's very specific, very tailored, based on the individual family and client's needs, goals, and risk tolerance. A lot of those things that we talk about all the time.
And by being independent and fiduciary, we're not limited to cookie cutter positions.
That's right.
That you come in, we find a little, hey, you're either conservative, moderate, balanced, or growth, and we put you in that risk tolerance bucket and stick you with that asset class, and that's it. That's not the way we operate, and that's not how we look at allocation models. It's a customized approach. And so that's what you can receive when you come to talk with us.
Well, and it's very relational. It's very, the way that we know how to advise you is by getting to know you.
Yeah.
If we don't know you and what makes you tick, what's really maybe some things that are hard for you to swallow when it comes to your finances, what are things that really help you and are good, what are you looking towards? If we know those things, then we can really have what we need to build out a plan that gets you to where you want to be.
There's one more thing I want to add before a break, though. I'm not going to say the person's name, but we're all familiar with this person. It rhymes with Ernie Madoff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And but being independent
Right.
could maybe make people question, say, all right, well, then where is my money actually held? Can you explain that?
And this is something to be very aware of. Anytime you're investing anywhere with anyone, know where your funds are being held.
Huge.
For example, when you work with us, we are, as we've said many times, even just in this segment, we are independent advisors. And so when you put funds with us, when we help you with investing, whatever way that looks like, it's not made out, you don't make a check to Allon Planning Partners
Right.
or Jay and Brittany Hagee.
No.
The check is made out to the third-party custodian, and that is for your safety. That's for your security. We're not ever holding those dollars at Allon Planning Partners. Those dollars are held at a third-party custodian.
A third-party
to
custodian that
protect.
you may know some of these names: Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab.
Right.
We utilize all these third-party custodians as a bank for where your funds are held. We never hold your funds internally.
Right.
We don't have that conflict
Nor
of interest.
should we.
Nor
Nor
we want to
advisors
protect ourselves
should
and
be.
protect
Yeah.
you. So if you're working for someone where you don't know where your funds are being held, or maybe they're being held internally, that may be a red flag. You may want to look into what's going on there. So absolutely.
Right, and then the difference there then is that, because they might say, well, if the money is at a Fidelity or a TD Ameritrade, why don't I just go there? Is that you're managing,
We're
and
managing
you're also
those
putting
funds.
together the plan for that.
Absolutely.
That's right. We're telling the assets how to be positioned within those accounts. So we can help but to reposition and allocate those based on, of course, our conversations and how we determine is best for you and your situation, but we're not actually holding those
You're getting the
dollars.
best of both worlds, honestly. You're getting the customization of an independent advisory firm that is customizing the approach to you, not a big box approach, which would put you
Right.
into different allocation models, right? But we're customizing our retirement planning approach to you, and you're getting the security and stability of a big box retail firm. And so that's what you're getting by coming and working with an independent fiduciary advisor. So independent does not mean lacking accountability. Okay, that's
Yeah,
the big
that's
thing.
important.
We are overseen. We have, believe me, much compliance. And it doesn't mean
We know
it
that.
doesn't mean that we
High compliance.
Yeah.
We know you're
Yeah.
watching our show.
It
You
doesn't
watch it
mean that
every
we don't
week.
That's
have
right.
accountability. We absolutely have accountability, but we don't have strings that tell us where we have to place our hard-earned clients' dollars.
Right.
So, Brittany, we have to take a short break right now. Why don't you tell the viewers about purpose-based planning and what it's like to experience coming into the Allon Exchange by calling the number here.
Yeah, that's right. When you come in and sit down with us, the first thing we're going to talk about is your situation. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what assets you have. We want to hear what your goals are. We want to hear what you want to do with what you have. We want to listen. We don't want to sit here and put on this monologue where we talk for an hour. We want to sit and ask questions and hear from you. We want to allow you to ask questions of us so that we can provide that reinforcement and the creative solutions that we talk about all the time. And then from our conversation, we can begin to determine what will fit for you? What is it that you need? What are some vehicles or some investments or whatever the fill in the blank is that provides an answer or a solution to your situation, to your problem, to your question? That's what you get when you come and sit down with us. You get a relational approach and you get solutions. You get solutions to your problems. 866-691-7317. We would love to sit down with you and have offer this complimentary consultation. No obligation at all. Leave your checkbooks at home. As we always say, we're not trying to get something from you. We're trying to get something to you.
And hey, before we go out to commercial break right now, and you're thinking, oh, I need to go get some potato chips, I need to get a sip of water or something, use that QR code down at the bottom of the screen. Open up your phone, go to the camera function on there, point on it, it'll take you right over to the website as well. If you're interested in purpose-based retirement planning, call Jay and Brittany. We'll be right back with the Allon Exchange right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagee, retirement planning specialists. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and we're talking about planning with purpose for your retirement. But more importantly, Brittany had written something about preparing on purpose. Now, do you mean for retirement? And does anybody prepare on accident? What is preparing on
What does that mean?
Yeah, in order to be successful when it comes to our finances or to just have financial health, we must be intentional. Financial health and planning and having a goal set before us, that doesn't just happen by chance. It takes intentionality, it takes true planning. And it also takes the right people on the right seat on your bus. So people like us, the financial advisors. It takes the right people when you're working with a CPA, when you're working with someone about specifically with your taxes. It takes the right estate attorney to make sure that you have all the legal documents and the legalities covered on that side of things as well. So there's all these different components. And none of that happens by accident.
I was going to say
it takes
on purpose.
But the
intentionality.
preparing on purpose, though, it does start to sound a little overwhelming. And this might be, again, go back to the top of the show, well, we need a financial coach, a financial advisor.
Right.
Because some of this preparing on purpose, it can be overwhelming. And when anything feels overwhelming, we just stop doing it or bury it and bury our head in the sand. So how do we continue forward? How do you get people motivated when they're like, oh, Jay, Brittany, it is a little bit too much right now?
Well, yeah, and the on purpose is just your intentionality. It's just saying, I know I need to prepare, right? And so we have three sayings: on purpose, prepare for a purpose,
Right.
and prepare with purpose. And so we're going to talk about all three of those, but the on purpose is just really admitting, I need to prepare. I need to be ready. I need to have a plan to go forward to make sure I'm hitting the goals that I have. That's kind of where we're at. But the for purpose is really the why. Like, prepare for your purpose. We have one client that we just helped. She was turning 60 and she wanted to make sure she was totally out of debt and had enough money stashed away to be able to pay all of her bills for retirement for the rest of her life, for the reason she wanted to go to underdeveloped countries and teach English to kids. She had a huge why, and she's like, I want to know that this is the income that I need. Can you make sure I have a good income strategy and plan together with the assets that I have so that I can fulfill my purpose, so that I can fulfill my why. A lot of times we call retirement repurposing at our
Right.
office. We don't want to say, hey, you're just going to retire and you're done, like,
Check
you know,
out.
checking out for the
And
rest
don't
of your
you
life.
find that people are more successful with their planning when they have an actual purpose in retirement?
They have
Yeah.
to have purpose.
Because
in
just saying,
retirement.
I don't want to work anymore, okay, I mean, I don't know if I'd call that a goal, that's more of a wish.
Yeah.
But we're always going to be doing something, you still got to cut the lawn. I mean, there's
Yeah.
still things, we still got to walk the dog,
Well,
right?
and you ask about how do we maintain that? How do we keep going? You know, how
Yeah.
do we continue so
Even
we
when
don't
things are
fall
hard.
off?
Yeah.
Well, one way to do that is to have something you're really passionate about. You know, to be super passionate about the why you're doing what you're doing. Why am I sacrificing now? Because I want this end goal later. And again, keeping your vision fixed on that, what is ahead. That really does help to motivate as we continue the course.
Well, and some people might say, part of my why is I want to retire as soon as possible. Let me ask you both. Is it harder today to retire early? Is it harder today to retire at that 62 when there is the possibility of taking your early Social Security, which is going to be much lower? I'm a little concerned about early retirement, or the phrase early retirement, especially for those without pensions. Is it harder today?
It absolutely
Yeah,
is
definitely is
harder, and
harder.
it takes more strategic planning in order to get to that place. You know, there are a lot of avenues that you can take as far as, do I take Social Security early? Do I wait till I'm full retirement age? There's a lot of factors that go into the why there. But you know, as far as retiring early goes, if that is your goal, if that is your why, it's not impossible, but it has to be intentional. And so we have to put a plan together to get you there. You know, the big why for me, our kids, they never have a problem saying why. They never, when we're young, we never have a problem saying why. Well, why? Well, we just question, well, why? You know, you can't have that now. You can't go there. Why? You know, that seems to be their natural response. That needs to be our natural response in retirement planning and financial planning. There always has to be a why. Well, I'm giving you this formula for your success in your income plan. Here's how you should be invested. Here's the allocation strategy. Why? You want to know why, but you want to invest on purpose and for a purpose, and that for purpose is your why.
Well, and I would take it a step further for those who may say, I want to retire early. Okay, you want to retire early, but then what? What is that going to look like? Let's be
Repurposing.
specific as to what that repurposing looks like. You're going to have the same amount of time as you did
Yeah.
when you worked before, whatever you did in that season. So how is that going to look in this season? And creating proper expectations is big, especially for married couples. Talking about what that stage of life is going to look like,
That's
so
big right
that
there,
you
yeah.
have proper expectations and you're on the same page. Because if you're married, you want to do that together. You may want to travel, or again, whatever your why is. What is it you want to retire for? And being clear about that, so that again, all of that helps to chart the course to increase your chances of being successful.
And
in
because
getting
we're
where you wanna be.
individuals, we will have different whys. Even though we're married, we have different whys a lot of
Really?
times.
Between
A lot of
spouses?
times. And so
Different
like,
opinions?
you better have that conversation and prepare on purpose before you get to retirement. Because if you're waiting until, you know, well, I'm retiring next month and, you know, what am I going to do? You're going to have a little bit of conflict to work through.
Well, and we recently had this scenario happen. We had a couple in our office, and we were talking through this, and they were on totally different pages, and they had to kind of just wrestle through that. And listen, that's okay.
We'll help you with that.
Yeah, conflict is
What were
okay.
the pages? Was it travel, non-travel, spending, non-spending?
What was that?
A little of both.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he wanted to spend, she wanted to save still. You know, he wanted to be done with work totally. She's like, well, maybe you should be working a few more days a week because we'll kill each other if we're together all
Well,
the
but
time.
they also had different ideas as to how they wanted to spend that time. One wanted to travel and be with grandkids, and the other wanted
That was true.
to stay put. I want to be home. I've been out of the house working. I want to be home.
That's right.
And so again, setting those expectations and having those conversations. So here's your friendly reminder: have these conversations early. Don't wait until you get there. And then it's like, oh, you know, two bulls going at it, trying to figure out how is this going to work.
Yeah.
Let's have these conversations early and often. And if you're single, the same thing. If you are on your own, you still need to be having these processes of thinking. What is that
conversations,
going to
yeah.
look like for me? You shouldn't disregard that just because you don't have someone to process that with. It's just as important
That's
for you
right.
as well to have that imagery as to what is it that I'm working towards and what exactly do I want that stage to look like.
Retire with purpose. Folks, call the phone number you see right here so you can get your own complimentary retirement review from Jay and Brittany Hagee. They are the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners. We're talking today about retiring with purpose. I've got a great question from one of our viewers out there about long-term care. Hey, the kids are just going to take care of me when I get older. I don't know if that's retiring with purpose. Call 866-691-7317 for your own complimentary review. We'll be back with more Jay and Brittany right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagee. They're the co-founders of Allon Planning Partners, wealth planning and retirement specialists right here in your local area. If you can see us on the TV, they'd be happy to help you with your retirement planning strategies. We're talking about retiring with purpose and purpose-based goal setting for retirement. Not just let's save as much as we can, not just I want to get to retirement so I don't have to work anymore, creating purpose with that strategy between you, your spouse, or if you're alone as well, which kind of leads me to our question. I've got a question here from Katie in Athens. My kids will probably be able to take care of me later in life. Why would I need long-term care insurance?
Wow.
Big assumption there. Big assumption.
There
That is a
are,
big assumption.
and the thing is, there are so many unknowns about those types of situations. What if you get to that point in life, maybe your kids aren't equipped to give you that kind of care? Maybe it's more medical, more medically specialized than they're able to provide. Or there could be some kind of situation within their own family to where maybe one of their kids maybe special needs or has a need for additional care on their own where they just aren't equipped to do both. So there's all these kinds of scenarios. Unfortunately, even things like what if something happens to them, a car accident or a stroke, God forbid, something like that occurs and they're unable to care for themselves, let alone someone else. So it's not always the best solution to say, hey, I'll just count on so-and-so taking care of me.
This is completely different today than I think it was 20 or 30 years ago. We used to maybe take care of mom and dad for a year or two as they got older. The house was paid off, but millions of Americans today are going through this. I've seen it within my own family. We're not equipped for the medical care, the cooking care.
And we're living longer.
The physical care. I mean, my
Longer
dad
care.
is nearly 6'3", and even if he I'm not going to be able to lift
Right.
225 pounds of
Right.
food if he needs the physical care.
Absolutely.
Then there's the mental wear and tear
Right.
of because what we're talking about is our kids will be able to take care of it. Those kids will be in their 50s or
Right,
60s
right.
themselves, hopefully.
And we
looking
really
to
can't
retire.
think that way. So you have to have solutions. You have to have solutions to how do I get the care that I need? Well, if you do nothing, I hope you have the assets to support it, right? I don't consider that to be a long-term care plan. You have really three main options besides that, and that is traditional long-term care insurance, and you're going to pay a little bit more money for that, and it can be specialized. It's a little bit more rigid as far as
because it's a use it or lose it.
It's a use it or lose it. Like if you can pay a lot of premium, and if I need long-term care, great, and if I not, then I'll just pay all that premium, and just like a car insurance, never got in a wreck, but I have the insurance. That's an option. There's a couple more options. One would be an insurance policy that actually has a rider on it, so it would have a death benefit like a typical life insurance policy would, but you could get that death benefit early if you needed things like long-term care assistance, or at some even home health scenarios. Even annuities that have some riders on them. If you want to utilize your assets for qualified annuities that would then pay you a rider in order to pay for long-term care help. So you can utilize your own assets. You do not have to just go out there without a plan. There are many options that you can utilize without just saying, well, I think I'll just let my kids take care of me, because that's probably not the reality of what's going to be able to happen.
And so I'd like to dive just a little bit deeper into this kind of idea of leveraging. The long-term care policies, I think we have found out on their own individually can be very, very expensive.
That's right.
Yes.
And the rates can end to double and triple.
Right.
And it's quite commonplace because the actuary tables, we are living longer than we ever have. But there are other, do we call them hybrid or
That's right.
annuity products that have other features and functions
That's
that,
right.
that provide not only the possibility of saving into income, but then if there is the need, you can turn on long-term care as well?
That's correct. So
Definitely.
you're not wasting those dollars. You're putting them in savings buckets is the way I like to look at them, because ultimately that money's either going to go to my estate and the people that I love if I pass away, or it's going to be used for my care.
There's benefit in
because
that
of the
because
riders.
because it's going to be used somehow. It's not like a use it or lose it. It's going to be used somehow, whether it's for medical care before while you're still alive, or passing on to your heirs. And there's benefit in that.
And you're
obviously.
protecting your retirement assets this way as
Yeah.
well. You do not have to
Right.
put your retirement asset at risk. If I needed some care, I don't need to put my retirement assets at risk for Brittany and the kids to still have money to live on, right, if I need long-term assistance. And so I would definitely encourage looking into those alternative solutions with insurance policies and annuities, because it is there's some huge benefits to doing so.
Right. And just some of the average costs that we know around the country, even here locally, was $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Oh,
out
and
of our own
long-term
pocket.
care,
So
absolutely.
let's say if we're a married couple, we've got $500,000 saved in our life savings. How quickly are we
It's
going to
dwindle
that down?
really fast if you need long-term assistance. And most folks don't know that Medicare is not going to cover all these costs until
Yeah.
you've paid down some of those assets,
Right.
unless you have protection like we're talking about. And so you're going, because of the $5,000 to $10,000 a month average cost that you're going to spend in long-term care, that can eat away those savings like
drain it
nothing
quick.
else. Yeah, it'll drain it very quickly.
right.
So we have to have a plan. We have to have a way to cover and protect our
And
assets.
we're not negative Nellies. We're not.
I was
yeah,
gonna
we're
say,
not
let's-
gonna
let's
sit-
end this- let's
That's
end this on
right.
a
We're not-
positive note.
We don't sit on that. All of these negative things that could happen. That's not where we live.
No.
That's not how we want to think all the time. But there's wisdom in planning, and that makes a difference. It can bring peace of mind, not just for you, but for your loved ones, for those who you care about most. It matters, and that's why planning is so important. And that's
Absolutely.
what you'll get when you sit down with us. Conversations just like this around your situation, where we're providing solutions and hope, because you don't have to live in the dumps or struggling in the weight and the burden of all of these questions. You don't have to go it alone. That is why we are here. Give us a call today, 866-691-7317. Your complimentary consultation is awaiting your call.
And you know what? I love that you say that. Let's stay positive. Sometimes we just have to have the difficult conversation
Yeah.
for a few minutes. Planning can take away that fear.
That's right.
Call the Allon Exchange in Jay and Brittany. We'll do a complimentary review, an over 90-minute meeting, probably even a second after that, to make sure that you can be and stay retired. Call the phone number you see here or use the QR code down at the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Me, Jay and Brittany, we like to keep it positive. We'll be
That's
back
right.
again next
That's
week.
right.